Every day, more and more road users are filming their journeys, which can often end in disaster. Pioneered by motorists in Russia and Eastern Europe, dashboard-mounted cameras are constantly recording our behavior on the roads. From the bizarre, to the ridiculous, the funny, to the downright dangerous. The thousands and thousands of dashcams around the world have captured just about every mishap you can think of. Now we're going to delve into this treasure trove of stupidity on the roads. Put things right by pointing the finger of blame. Replay the action to see what really happened. And of course, there's nothing like seeing other people's mistakes when it comes to helping us become better drivers. And please remember, on all the clips, yes, that's all the clips we show, no one, and that means no one, is seriously hurt. So drive safely. Not everyone is this lucky. Still to come in this exciting episode of Car Crash TV, more perplexing and potty road use from all around planet Earth that, had it only happened in Great Britain, would have resulted in some serious contraventions of our commendable and righteous highway code. Article 167, do not overtake where you might come into conflict with other road users. For example, when you would force other road users to swerve or slow down. Article 267. Do not overtake unless you are sure it is safe and legal to do so. You should ensure you do not cut in on the vehicle you've just overtaken. The one about speed limits being more of a guide than a law. And more from I Would Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That, my now award-winning essay on the majesty of meatloaf, page 2007, Bat Out of Hell. I like to think of myself as a pretty learned gentleman. I went to Hull Polytechnic, take the Sunday Times, and I've read the complete works of Dan Brown. People in the office look up to me and seek me out so I might impart my wisdom on them. This next batch of clips, however, features a much less bright bunch, because they hail from out in the sticks. The service station really is a lifesaver, should you need petrol, potty, or pasty. The chap in the blue car up ahead has just partaken in all three indulgences, in that order, and the food has left him a little sleepy. Maybe potty after pasty next time, then you'll be less sluggish. Uh-oh, larder alert. Uh-oh, double larder alert. The stupidity is such in this clip that I am genuinely lost for words. When someone from out in the sticks heads to the suburbs, fireworks are all but guaranteed. Yes, there they are. And look, the yokel even had the good grace to display a hazard warning triangle to make people aware of the display. Rosettes all round, methinks. All the clips we show come from foreign climes, where they've fully embraced the wonder of modern technology that is the Dashcam. So I can't help but think that that sign could do with translating, as well as the one which clearly confused that blue truck. And finally, if you think you're having a bad day, I can categorically guarantee it's an absolute joy compared to this guy's. What a stinker! There are many things you associate with the simple act of driving. Changing gear, turning the steering wheel, popping on your indicator, reversing, parking, all very straightforward and all very dull. And this is a dullness I cannot tolerate. I want spinning and skidding and sequin shirts and the smell of fake tan. Damn it, I want strictly car crashing. First up tonight, we have a paso doble, and I've been told to brace myself for a dramatic dawn for this routine. Well, it certainly had impact as the couple come crashing together on the dance floor, but is that it? Plenty of style, but very little substance, I'm afraid. Mediocre 5. And now we have an elegant foxtrot. The couple are currently out of hold, but moving with both grace and purpose. Bravo! And now the moment we've all been waiting for, as they gently come together and break hold again. Stirring stuff, my dears. It's an 8.
good, the Charleston. I could do with something to give me a lift. Being this close to Bruno for hours on end is exhausting. Darling, is that all you've got? This dance is supposed to be vibrant and fun. That was lethargic and woeful. I'm looking away in disgust, too.
The samba is a dance that's all about the hips. A shake to the right and a shimmy to the left. Not bad at all. That sort of hip action is enough to get you a well-deserved 7.
This waltz has started well, and you're practically bursting with style and grace, my dear. I hope you can keep this up. Oh, my darling, no! It's all got a bit messy, hasn't it? What a shame. Such promise at the start, but a very limp finish, I'm afraid. More practice required. I can only give this 4.
Oh, thank God we've reached the end. Jive, is it? Go on then, darling. I haven't got all day. Oh, wow. What can I say? They've definitely saved the best till last this week. Stunning. Absolutely fabulous. I'm on my feet, darling. Come here, Bruno. Give me a hug. All is forgiven. 10.
Well, I hope that satisfied you as much as it did me, dear viewers. Join me again soon so we can conveniently gloss over the fact that Len has retired and go strictly cart crashing. Well, folks, we've reached that part of the show where we get to head stateside for a few minutes. Yes, it'll take more than a wall and an unnecessarily thorough body search to keep me out of that country. So throw on your double denim, pull on your cowboy boots, and give your cousin a kiss. This is Off-Road Rodeo. Our first rider today is Claudio Dirt Eater, who combines the off-road rodeo with actual rodeo, as he uses this run to transport his steed, Rocket Flare, to the Pendleton Thunderdome. Conditions are against him, and if he wants to make it to the Thunderdome in time for tonight's big meet, he's going to need to put his foot down. Claudio's been a bit heavy-handed on the accelerator and has eaten the dirt, meaning this rodeo is over for 32 seconds, and the other one is over before it's even begun. On board now with Mary Lou Montana, who, under the advice of her doctor, is using off-road rodeo to distract her from a crippling substance abuse problem. So far, so good, but wait, she's lost it and ends up with a face full of snow, a score of 13 seconds, and a doctor whose certification will be under some serious scrutiny now. We're on the lookout now for the big rig of one Cody Clapshot. Riding rodeo in a truck is a daring move, but it's double points for a successful run, so worth the risk. Here's Cody now, going it quite a lick. In fact, it's too much of a lick, and he's off for just 7 seconds. And a lamppost penalty to boot, which will see him lose 5 of those precious seconds. That big rig rodeo risk has definitely not paid off. The track up ahead looks busy, so our newcomer, Dakota Barnes, could be in a spot of bother. There's drivers all over the track, so it's going to need a steady hand to negotiate this. Does she have one? 3 seconds suggests she does not. Dakota's debut is definitely one to forget. We're on the lookout for Ruben Alves, whose time on the track today could be limited as he's here illegally after successfully negotiating the Border Patrol. There's no time to waste for the Mexican champ, and he's going for it. But the Border Patrol have already caught up with him, and evasive maneuvers are required. Sadly, those maneuvers have taken him out of bounds for just 8 seconds. A poor run and immediate deportation means this has not been Ruben's day. It is, however, Claudio Dirt Eater's day. He may have missed the actual rodeo, but his time of 32 seconds in this one is a winner. Join us again soon to eat some more dirt in Off-Road Rodeo. Yee-haw! You know what you're getting when you take to the roads. A blowout here, a side swipe there, some colorful sign language you have to explain carefully to the children. You know, the usual. Sometimes, though, the road can be a much less predictable place, and that's when you come across some obstacles that can only be described as weird and wonderful. Take this first clip, for example. At first, it just looks like your normal common or garden blowout, followed by a precarious truck balancing act that you're likely to see every day on your morning commute. no. What I find weird and wonderful about this clip is that after the incident, the truck seems to have completely disappeared. Get the incredible car smashini in here. Now this is a magic act. It's a little known fact that tires have feelings too, so treat them with respect. This driver has decided to take his vehicle on an impromptu off-roading excursion, and his front right is not happy about it. Freedom! Maybe next time, just use your 4x4 for the school run, like nature intended. Whereas this poor tire is making a stand after the bus it's attached to was hired by the local Weight Watchers group. It's week 1, so they haven't fully weaned themselves off cake yet, and the results of the first weigh-in were disappointing to say the least. Maybe next time, leave it a couple of weeks before you organise a group excursion, or just make them walk. God knows they could do with some cardio. Call me a stickler, but this really isn't a great place to park, now is it? Still, it's not a marked bay, and it's not a double yellow line, so at least you've successfully avoided a parking payment and/or fine. Although, I do feel like that old saying, spend a penny to save a pound, does bear some relevance here. As we've just learnt, tires have feelings, and as it happens, so do cars. Take this poor Polo. He was hoping to be snapped up by a potential buyer today, but this couple have had their heads turned by his bigger, more impressive brother, the Golf. The rejection is frankly too much for him to bear. Remember, viewers, cars and tires have feelings too. Pity the poor pigeon. They really do have a bad rep, what with the whole Rats of the Sky label. So it's nice to see our driver allowing one of the beasts that's had the good grace to seek out a pedestrian crossing the time and space to safely traverse the road. I hope it hasn't got rabies, or this was all for naught. And finally, not all countries have a healthy GDP, and so have to cut their cloth accordingly. Luxuries such as road gritters are beyond them. However, they can ill afford the sort of expensive legal claim that might come their way should an ice-based accident occur, so they improvise. It's a nice idea, but I can't help but think you aren't getting enough coverage. Still, in the future, at least we can all reminisce about that time before Latvia went bust. Coming up in the Car Crash TV finale, we'll be following some drivers who find themselves on a collision course, playing another intense game of hit or miss, and checking out the latest bargains on offer from Paddy O'Neill in Wheeler Dealer. But first, this looks more like a blame game scenario than a what happens next one. But is it? Well, let's find out. What happens next? Make sure you pay attention. Welcome back to Car Crash TV. So what did happen next? Keep your eye on this car and this light. I said this light, you dunderhead, not those. You know what? This is a blame game scenario after all. Fire up the pointy finger graphic, and all together now, blame! Driving can be a tricky bit of business, and you can hold as many commendations, certifications, and accreditations as you want. But sadly, there will always be some pillock on the road called Neil, which means they're all for nothing. Yes, you may strive to be the very best of the best behind the wheel, but sadly not everyone shares your thoroughness, which will always see you on an inevitable collision course. When visiting a foreign country, it's easy to become confused on the roads. The signposts are all in a different language. Symbols mean different things over there than they do over here. And of course, in nearly every other country, they drive on the wrong side of the ruddy road. One thing remains consistent though. If you are responsible for an accident, you pull over and take responsibility. So judging by the way that black car hightails it from the scene, this must be our first clip from Qui-Gon 7. Still, it's good to have made first contact. Yes, on Qui-Gon 7, they play by a very different set of rules, and a little thing like lane discipline is universally ignored. Which kind of begs the question, when faced with such cavalier behavior on the roads, why do they bother with dash cams at all? Rear lights are often an overlooked area of car maintenance. After all, out of sight, out of mind. But what about your fellow road users? This chap's so confused by that car's mixed signals, he's had to panic, pull over, and sit this one out. Much like I had to at the recent old social club mixer. Modern dating is so confusing. Speaking of modern dating, one new craze that's raised its head is extreme speed dating. Rather than meeting potential mates for a quick 3-minute powwow across the table, this variation sees people meet for 2 seconds on the road. Grab your coat, love. You've pulled. If you're going to call a car a roomster, surely it should look much bigger than a slightly tall Fiesta. Equally, if you're going to turn left, you should position your vehicle in the left-hand lane. Small details, but no less important. More extreme speed dating now, and unlike our previous clip, the outcome of this meeting is a lot less rosy. Sadly, the chap in the truck takes the rejection badly. Have some dignity, man. Pick that wing mirror up and give it her back. And now time to trial a new game we have under consideration for Series 5. It's the Transit Tombola. Yes, which of these 3 transit vans is going to plow into the car at the upcoming junction? The one on the left, the one on the right, or the one in the middle? Boom! It's the one on the right. Okay, it's no hit or miss, but with a little refinement, I reckon we could have another ratings winner on our hands. When the scent of cooked dead cow is in the air, and there's the prospect of playing on that slide, chaos on the roads is sadly inevitable. Hey, calm down, young man. Didn't your parents teach you about waiting your turn? I'd order yourself an apple pie too if I were you. That molten filling is hot enough to melt plastic, so it would allow you to reattach that bumper. No need to thank me. Just buy me a cheeseburger and some fries. And finally, I have no idea what Framokia is, but at 40% off, it's clearly an enticing prospect for this driver. I'd Google it to find out, but knowing my luck, it'll just be hemorrhoid cream. Again. Well, if you need some so badly, Neil, you Google it. Let's talk about the laws of probability. Well, if you weren't hooked on our fine broadcast yet, I bet you are now. Okay, let's play about with the laws of probability instead. That's much more fun than talking about them, isn't it? But how should we do that, I wonder? Oh, I know. It's hit or miss. Beautiful day and a lovely clear stretch of road. Are we sure we've got the right clip here? Doesn't seem like anything suspect is going to go down. Ah! Neil, I should know by now not to doubt you. You have many, many faults, but you do know your car crash clips. So are we going to hit the white Wally who's cut in front of us, swerve into that Luton van on the left, or somehow manage to manufacture a miss? And it's a hit! And no, Neil, you can't have a raise. Another nice day and another nice stretch of road, so we definitely aren't in the UK. No, in the UK there'd be potholes and post-apocalyptic weather. All this driver has to do is avoid becoming part of that pile-up. But will he hit the car on the right, the car in the middle, the car on the left, or brake hard and miss completely? All hail Gabriel Voisin. It's a miss. He invented ABS, Neil. You've worked on this show for 4 years now. You shouldn't have to ask. I've noticed that a lot of our hit or miss clips come about when some tool decides to overtake on a blind bend. So I wonder what's around this corner. Ah, some tool, of course. So will we hit the spanner in the car, the big hunk of bus he's trying to overtake, or miss completely? And it's a miss. And I'm sorry to say that horn will have fallen on deaf ears. He'll be at it again tomorrow. Oh, look, it's a taxi acting like he owns the road, showing little or no respect for other drivers. How unusual. That almost never happens. So will we hit the terrible taxi? God, I hope so. Swerve and hit the silver car, or miss completely? Yes, it's a hit. In your face, you taxi-driving swine. Sorry, I have my reasons. Well, I hope that's cleared up the laws of probability for you. And if not, then I hope at the very least you were entertained. You have been watching Hit or Miss. You're welcome. If you've ever made the decision to buy a new car, you'll know how awful and irritating car salespeople can be. Honestly, they really are the worst. Just let me sit in the thing for 5 minutes and pretend I'm a big shot. Yes, I know I can't afford the thing, but please humour me. This is all I've got. So to save you that combination of irritation and embarrassment, we've simplified the process by creating our own car shopping channel. Here's Paddy O'Neill with the latest bargains on offer in Wheeler Dealer.
Our first offering today is a perfect wee Grand Tour, ideal for those long motorway drives with the kids in the back asking, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Don't let the wee gliders distract you too much though. The brakes are terrible and that's reflected in the price. Just $1,000 and she's all yours. Up next we have the Skidder. A great car for those of you who like to add a bit of spice to your commute. Not great though if you're a member of the Blues Brothers Recreation Society. You can't have everything after all, but you can snap up this wee belter for the bargain price of $3,000. Next up, we have the Man Magnet. Yes, the steering is terrible. Yes, the brakes are shot. Yes, the interior smells like mince. But just look at the way the fellas flock to it. This kind of attention grabber doesn't come cheap, but at $5,000, it'll be cheaper than a lifetime subscription to one of those dating websites. Better results too. If you're looking for something a bit bigger, this could be the motor for you. It's got an impressive payload, and if you drive something like this, you don't have to bother with something as trivial as braking. This sort of power comes at a premium, but for $8,000, it'll be worth every penny. The whiplash claims are on you though. Next up, we have Paddy's Pound Saver. And it's one of those dastardly laddas that Fergal, our mechanic, has managed to tame. It's a steal at 200 quid, and please, don't be put off by the pair that were test driving it and couldn't get away from the thing quickly enough. They're just picky. And finally, are you stricken by poverty? Are you embarrassed by the quality of vehicle you can afford? Then this is the car for you. Comes complete with its own cloaking device to ensure no one can see you driving the ghastly thing. Mocking will be a thing of the past, and to save your shame, it'll only cost you 500 quid.